The woods were too quiet for a playground to be this close. No laughter, no footsteps, just wind through the trees, and the sharp crack of twigs under boots that weren't small. In the clearing, a little girl crouched behind a fallen log, her breath held so tightly it hurt her chest. Her name was Emily, 6 years old, missing for 2 days. Last seen near the gas station 3 miles from here. She had dirt on her face, a tear in her shirt, and fear in her eyes. Somewhere in the trees, a man called her name, but not the way a friend would, not the way her mother had. Emily didn't answer. Then, a new sound. Not a voice, not footsteps. A bark, loud, sharp, full of intent. And then a shadow cut through the trees. A large German shepherd, black and tan, eyes locked, chest heaving. Canine ghost, on his last assigned search mission, and what he found was her. Emily was the kind of girl who colored outside the lines, not out of defiance, but because she thought the sky should be pink if it wanted to be. She lived in a small town tucked between highways and half-forgotten forest trails. Her mother, Rachel, worked long hours at the diner. Her father? Emily didn't ask anymore. She knew when to be quiet, knew when not to ask questions, knew how to fix her own breakfast, usually cereal with too much sugar and no milk. But she also knew how to smile when people looked, how to say "I'm fine" when no one really wanted the truth. Emily didn't have many friends at school. She was too quiet, too odd, and sometimes too much. But there was one thing she loved: the woods. Not the dangerous parts, just the edge, where dandelions grew and birds sang and no one asked anything of her. She would pick flowers, whistle badly, make up songs for squirrels and pine cones. That's what she was doing the day she vanished. It was supposed to be a 10-minute walk, one turn too far, one curious detour, and then a voice, friendly at first. "Hey there, are you lost?" She didn't answer. She should have run, but she didn't, because Emily had never been taught what real danger looked like. Ghost wasn't named by accident. He was quiet, precise, unshakable. He didn't bark at strangers, didn't chase balls, didn't wag his tail unless he meant it. 8 years in the K-9 unit, dozens of searches, narcotics, missing persons, hostage situations. His first handler had retired. His second, Officer Miles, was injured in the line of duty. Since then, Ghost had been bounced between temporary partners. None stuck. "He's too cold," they'd say, "too independent." But those who'd seen him work didn't question his instincts. When he was on a trail, he moved like he was pulled by something deeper than scent, something primal, something pure. Still, the department had decided. Ghost was to be retired. His age was showing. His joints ached after long runs. His left ear twitched now and then from an old explosion's echo. He was scheduled to be transferred to a quiet foster home by the weekend. But before that, one last call. "Missing girl, Age 6. Maybe lost or taken. Start from mile marker 19. Ghost didn't need a leash. He just looked at the trees and ran. Emily had stopped crying hours ago. She was too tired, too thirsty, too scared. The man had left her, said he was just going to check something. But the look in his eyes promised he'd be back. She crouched behind the log, trying not to breathe too loudly. Then came the bark. It wasn't like the man's voice, angry and uncertain. This sound was strong, sharp, solid. Then footsteps. Not heavy ones, measured, purposeful. She peeked over the log. At first all she saw were golden eyes, then a face, then a body, low to the ground, tense, coiled like a spring. A dog, big, black and tan, powerful. Emily froze. Ghost didn't move. He studied her, breath slow, tail still, waiting. Emily's lip trembled. Are you a good dog?" No sound. Then, one step forward, slow, gentle. She held out her hand. Ghost sniffed, then licked it, once. Emily burst into tears, not out of fear, but relief. Ghost stepped closer and nudged her shoulder. Then his ears perked. A sound. The man, returning. Ghost turned his head, snarled. For the first time in days, Emily felt something new. Not just safety, but protection. The man's boots were louder now, closer. He was humming, casual, cruel. Emily froze. Ghost didn't. In one smooth motion, he moved in front of her, positioned sideways, protective, unmoving. His body blocked her from view, his head low, ears forward. The man emerged from the trees. His smile died the second he saw Ghost. "What the?" Ghost growled. It was low, like a warning wrapped in thunder. "Easy," the man muttered, taking a step back. Ghost took one forward. The man reached into his jacket. Ghost moved, a blur of muscle and fury. He launched, front paws hitting the man's chest, sending him hard into the ground. The knife clattered to the dirt. The man screamed. Ghost snarled, pinned him, not biting, not yet, just holding. Emily stared, eyes wide, not in fear, in awe. Ghost stood over the man, eyes blazing. From the distance, sirens, voices, crackling radios, search teams. Emily stepped out from behind the log just as officers burst through the trees. They froze, took in the scene, then lowered their weapons. "Ghost," one officer whispered. Ghost didn't look away from the man. Only when the cuffs clicked did he finally step back, panting, but calm. Emily ran to him, wrapped her arms around his neck. "You saved me." He didn't bark, didn't move, but for the first time, he wagged his tail. Back at the station, Emily clutched a warm blanket and a paper cup of cocoa. She didn't speak much. Didn't need to. Ghost sat beside her, eyes half closed, tail curled gently around his paws. Then the door opened. An older woman entered, sharp uniform, silver stripes, and tired eyes that had seen too much. Captain Rowe. She knelt beside Ghost, touched the scar on his right shoulder. "You weren't supposed to be out there, boy." Ghost leaned forward, nose to her wrist. Emily watched them closely. "Is he in trouble?" she asked. Rowe looked up, surprised. "Trouble? No. Ghost doesn't get in trouble. He gets it done." Emily frowned. Why was he being retired? Rowe sighed. Because the world moves too fast. Because people forget that instincts can't be trained. They're earned. She looked at Ghost. He's lost partners, friends. He doesn't follow commands anymore. Only calls, like yours. Emily blinked. "I didn't call him." Rowe smiled. "Not with words." They were quiet for a moment. Then Rowe stood. "Ghost will stay with you tonight. Department protocol. But after that, it's complicated." Emily's eyes widened. "He's not going back to a cage." Rowe's expression softened. "We'll see." She paused at the door. "Some dogs work until their last breath. Others find something worth living for." Ghost turned his head, looked at Emily, stayed. Emily's home was small. Peeling wallpaper. One bedroom, one couch. A flickering nightlight in the hallway. Ghost had never been inside a house like this. He sniffed the carpet, paced the walls, settled at the foot of Emily's bed like he'd always belonged there. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She sat up and watched him. Just watched. "They said you saved people before me," she whispered. Ghost blinked, said nothing. "Do you think you're done now?" He closed his eyes, then opened them again. Emily slid out of bed and wrapped her arms around his neck. "You're my family now." Suddenly, a knock on the door. Emily froze. Her mom was working late. No one should be here. Another knock. Harder. Ghost stood. Low growl, ears alert. Emily backed away. She grabbed the phone. Dialed. "There's someone outside." Ghost didn't wait. He moved to the door, body rigid, muscles coiled. From the window, Emily saw a figure step back into the shadows. Then, silence. Police arrived minutes later. Whoever had come was gone. No harm done. But the message was clear. Not everyone from the woods had been caught. That night, Emily slept beside Ghost on the floor, one hand on his fur. His eyes never closed. The morning light filtered in soft and golden. Emily stirred on the living room floor, her cheek pressed to Ghost's side. His breathing was steady, his eyes open, watching. She sat up slowly and stretched. "You didn't sleep, huh?" Ghost yawned, an enormous jaw-cracking sigh that somehow said, "No, but I didn't need to." Emily poured him water, made toast for herself. They sat by the window together, watching the world wake up. For the first time in what felt like years, she didn't feel small, or invisible, or afraid. That afternoon, her mom came home early. She crouched beside Ghost, who had now become more legend than dog in the neighborhood. "He saved her. Again," she said softly, looking at Emily. Emily nodded. "He doesn't let anything near me. Not fear. Not even nightmares." Ghost, sensing the shift, rested his head on Emily's lap. Rachel knelt, ran her hand along his back. "Then he stays." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. "Really?" Her mom nodded. "He's earned it." And Ghost? He thumped his tail once against the floor. That night, Emily didn't reach for the light switch before sleeping. She didn't check under the bed, didn't ask, "Are the doors locked?" She just looked at Ghost, curled at her feet, and whispered, "You're home now." Ghost wasn't just a pet now. He was part of the town. At the bakery, they saved him bacon scraps. At the school, he had his own spot by the classroom heater. Even the librarian kept a water bowl by the front desk, just in case Emily stopped by with him after school. They walked everywhere together. Emily began speaking more, laughing more. At recess, kids no longer whispered behind her back. They sat beside her. Some even drew Ghost in their notebooks, clumsy sketches with big eyes and wagging tails. One boy asked her, "Is he magic?" Emily shrugged. "No, just loyal." Ghost never strayed more than a few steps away. At night, he'd check every room before settling down. At the sound of thunder, he'd press against her side. Sometimes, she'd hold his face and whisper, "I feel brave because of you." And maybe Ghost needed that too. Maybe after years of obeying orders, chasing shadows, and working in silence, he needed someone to choose him, not for what he could do, but for who he was. Emily didn't hide at recess anymore. She raised her hand in class, told stories, corrected teachers gently when they mispronounced German Shepherd. She even started a safety and service club at school. Every week, she and Ghost visited younger classrooms. They taught kids how to approach dogs, how to read fear, how to be brave. Emily stood at the front, shoulders back, voice clear. "He didn't just save me. He reminded me I matter." Her drawings changed, too. No more lost girls. Now there were heroes with tails, castles guarded by dogs, girls with freckles and steel in their eyes. She began writing stories, real ones. Ghost was always the main character. One afternoon, Captain Rowe visited the classroom. She watched as Ghost sat calmly beside Emily while a group of kids asked questions. Did he ever chase a bad guy? How fast can he run? Can he live forever? Rowe smiled. In stories, absolutely. After class, she pulled Emily aside. You gave him something we never could. Emily tilted her head. What's that? Rowe placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Peace. Some heroes don't wear uniforms. They don't speak. They don't ask for medals. They don't stand in the spotlight. They just show up, stay close, and never leave your side. no matter how dark it gets. Ghost wasn't sent to Emily. He chose her, not because she was loud, not because she was fearless, but because she needed someone to believe in her quiet strength. And Emily? She didn't just survive. She grew. She stood taller, spoke louder, and learned that bravery isn't about being unafraid. It's about showing up anyway. Together, they reminded the world of something simple, powerful, and often forgotten. You don't have to be loud to be brave. You just have to stay. If this story moved you, if you believe some heroes don't need words to save lives, like this video to honor quiet courage. Share it with someone who's ever been saved by a paw, not a hand. Subscribe for more true stories of loyalty, bravery, and second chances. And in the comments, tell us about your ghost, because sometimes the ones who protect us walk on 4 legs.